Hi there. This is a quick review of the year 2022, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about what I plan to do in 2023. I wrote it all down here. Got the dishwasher in the background, you may be able to hear that. This video is mostly just for me to look back on one day and smile and remember, what even happened that year? At the beginning of the year, I stopped making videos on this channel and started focusing on making the RuneScape Questlore series, the old school RuneScape Questlore series on the other channel. Good news is that I've now completed 154 out of the 158 quests, making a video for each one, and between the end of January and the end of November, over 10 months, I managed to make 3 videos a week, every single week, non-stop. So I'm quite proud of that achievement for this year. That's definitely the highlight in terms of projects that I've worked on. I'm planning to finish the series before February. I want to get the last 4 videos done, 1 per week in January, and then start working on the Twitter files. That's another thing that marked this year. The first one I think came out in December 2021, and throughout mostly the first half of 2022, new threads on the Twitter files were made with different independent journalists getting access to information about what was happening at Twitter before Elon Musk bought it. I think it's a particularly important topic, and there are definitely a lot of books which also go into detail about how the government works, the different government cutouts, different forms of corruption and all of that. In particular, I'm focusing on censoring. I think that's a particularly big issue, but I am feeling pretty confident that it's not going to be so big of an issue in the future. So that's something I'm planning to work on, 1 video per week in 2023. I think it's going to take most of the year to work on that. And in a similar way to how I look at the Questlore series as my highlight of 2022, I think I'll look back at Twitter files as my highlight of 2023. I went to Gibraltar twice this year, once in February and once in December. In February, I walked the Mediterranean steps, so if anyone's planning to go to Gibraltar or is in Gibraltar or can go there, if you want a really awesome adventure, it takes a few hours. I say give yourself at least 3 hours to walk up to the beginning of the Mediterranean steps walk and go down. It's quite the adventure. You're out in nature, uneven surfaces, all from a height on the rock side of Gibraltar. It's an adventure that I never knew was available in Gibraltar, and to do that for the first time this year was definitely one of my highlights. I think I recorded some clips of it, and I also think if I ever do it again, I would love to make a nice video about it. I also went camping a few times this year in the summer, and I do look back with a smile at my time camping. I really enjoy camping. I do plan to go camping again this year. I've already had a few, it's not 2023 yet, but I plan to do it again in 2023. Wait, it's today? Wait, we're in 2023, we're going into 2024, right? I don't even know. That's right, I was 25 this year, sorry. I do plan to do a lot of camping in 2024. Freaking wrote 2022 review at the top and plans for 2023. I'm not even in the right year right now. All right. So yeah, I do plan to go camping in 2024. I have talked about this with a few friends. My closest group of friends in the UK, the people who I shared a house with, I haven't seen them since I left the UK in September of 2022. Yeah. So it had been a year and a quarter since I'd seen them, and they came to Portugal, and that was such a pleasant surprise. And one of my mates, Dan, this was his first time in Portugal, and we had an awesome day out, and it was a surreal feeling to see them again, because that group in particular, they felt like a second family to me when I was living in the UK, and I missed them a lot, so it was really nice to see them. I think they might be coming back again in summer of 2024, or if not, I think I will be going to the UK to see them. Maybe I might go to a music festival, I'm not sure yet. I went on a Jeep trip through the muddy roads, the off-roads here in Portugal, to a place called Fronteira, which is near the border with Spain. It's a massive event where so many Jeeps go, and there's a 24-hour dirt car rally or something like that. I'm not watching the rally itself, but For a good 3 days, I was out in a Jeep on this awesome adventure with a new group of lads I hadn't hung out with. Of course, my friend that invited me, I knew him well, and it was a fun adventure. A very energetic weekend, but it hasn't really motivated me to buy a Jeep myself. I started reading the Bible now at the end of 2023, and that's what I plan to make the book of the year that I read in 2024. It's a big book, it takes a long time to read. I don't think there's any literal wisdom to be had if you take the words literally, but I think there are analogies to how life works and symbolism and stories that I think do offer a lot of wisdom. So a pattern I want in my life right now is I would like to have more answers than questions. Very rarely do I get a new piece of information from either reading a book or hearing a podcast that makes me feel more relaxed than it does, I've got more questions about all of these different things. Why do I think the Bible might have more answers than questions? Well, I think it's, without a doubt, one of the most read books historically in the world. It was certainly the only book that was being read during the medieval times, read by priests, and there weren't many other books going about until the printing press. So I've got to think back, at least ancestrally, my great-great-great-great-grandparents, onwards, backwards throughout the generations. A lot of the wisdom that they would have gotten in their life would be from hearing a priest interpret the Bible. I can't help but feel like, since my previous generations have gone through that, maybe somehow, mysteriously, maybe hard-coded in my genetics, or maybe esoterically, in a cosmic sense, I can find my own understanding of the Bible. Maybe it relates somewhat to previous understandings of it. And if you think about the Western world and all the literature that has come from after the Bible, particularly with the printing press, it's coming from a place where that sort of like laid the groundwork, laid the foundation for the sort of knowledge that would then be made. And already immediately, just from reading a little bit of the Bible, I've already been able to think back to paintings that I've seen, particularly during the Renaissance era, which has, obviously the Christian symbolism in it. And so I think it's going to give me a deeper appreciation for so much more in terms of world of literature, but also so much more in the world of art. And I think most of all in terms of symbolism. As far as finding my own belief in some cosmological order to things, I think having a sort of an idea of a bedrock where this is how much I know, this is how much I can potentially know, and there's everything outside of that I will never even know that I can't even know. I think if you're laying at the ground, you can just leave it in God's hands. I think it's much better than always trying to make sense out of chaos. And I think one argument I like is, well, if you believe in God and Jesus and all of these miracles, you're not a very grounded person. Because obviously a grounded person who doesn't believe in God only needs the miracle of the Big Bang to explain everything else. Well, you're still believing in a miracle. Anyway, I won't argue that. So I started reading the Bible, and that's the main book that I want to read next year. Started a diet and exercise again after 4 years of really not being active with it. I was active back in 2018 and 2019 before I started working my placement year job between the second and third year of uni. That is when I started gaining weight and stopped exercising, and I haven't been consistent with it for, like I said, 4 years. So when I was at my most fit, I was close to 60 kilos, which is a little bit too much on the skinny side. And now I weigh close to 85, which is on the overweight side for, the amount of activity that I do every week for my height and my age. It's not a healthy weight. So my goal is to get to less than 70 kilos. The goal is to reach 69, because that's a really nice number. So that's one of the goals for next year as well. With my family, I went to the Algarve this year on a little trip, which was nice to go to the most southwestern point of Portugal. I think it's the most southwestern point of Europe. To the very south of Portugal in the city of Faro. And then also to go to the most southeastern point in Portugal, which is on the border with Spain. And so it was nice to explore all of the Algarve like that. In May, I went to a music festival in Coimbra, one of Portugal's oldest and most beautiful cities. And that was a very interesting experience to go down the city. That's where I'll be spending my New Year's Eve, going from 2023 to 2024. I discovered that there was a conference going on in the city I live in Portugal, near Fatima. And I couldn't believe that I was going to a conference where some of the writers of the Twitter files were actually going. I found it impossible to believe that this thing that I've been paying attention to and checking whenever Elon Musk reposts or likes or mentions the Twitter files, I've been following all of that. Two of the writers of the Twitter files were actually going to a conference in Fatima, and I got to go to that, and that really, I think, helped inspire me, because when you're only reading things on the internet and you don't see a sort of a personal connection, face to face, people working on these things, it does feel like you're just staring at a screen. And so to actually see people and have a more embodied, let's say, conversation with someone who's actually working on this, it really helped to clarify a lot of questions that I had. And it did make me think that making videos summarizing the Twitter files, and then at the end of the year in December I plan to make a documentary sort of collating everything together of the Twitter files into one video that I plan to make between 45 minutes, hour and a half long, like a documentary style video. I think people will appreciate that. I certainly appreciate it for myself in terms of it's not easy to keep all of that information in mind. So to have a video that can be a quick refresher on it, I think a lot of people will appreciate that. This year was my 25th birthday. In July, I invited so many people, and I wasn't expecting a big turnout. I wasn't expecting everyone to be able to make it, but it ended up being probably my favorite birthday I've ever had. Just some simple grilled meats and little bits to eat, and people playing pool, and hanging out, listening to some music, conversation going on. I drank enough beers to get me in a loose mood, cracking jokes and all of that. And I felt very, very grateful. I felt really, really grateful on that day to be surrounded by so many people. And while not everyone at the party knew each other, they were all there for me, and that's what mattered. So that was fun. Right, just gonna go through my list again, make sure I got it all. Yep. Oh yeah, completely forgot to mention this. I started a job in May here in Portugal. Started working here. I won't say the name of the company just yet, I might in the future. But yeah, started working for a company here, and while I haven't really found my flow with it, I would say, not really giving me the greatest sense of meaning or purpose in life. I hope that at some point over the next year, 2024, that I find a bit more resonance with it, and hopefully I find a bit more fulfillment from the job. But we don't know yet. One thing that could happen in 2024, which hasn't happened yet, is I might go green with my investment in crypto. You never know if there's going to be a pump or not. I'm always in the back of my mind hoping that I can afford an early retirement, but that is very much just a dream at this point. It might never happen. Okay. There was a really nice Christmas meal recently with my friends here in Portugal. Sat by the campfire, grilled some meats. Portugal is very simple. To keep people happy, you just give them some beer, give them some meat, maybe some bread. You got a happy customer basically. And so we did a Secret Santa. We got each other gifts within a sort of €10 price range, and it was very thoughtful and to exchange all the gifts, and overall it was just a really wonderful night. And even though it was just a few days before Christmas, it's winter, the sky was nice and clear, so there wasn't bad weather, and even though it is cold outside, to sit by the fire, everyone was warm enough, definitely. And I don't know, it was just a nice, great sense of conviviality that we could all take a moment from the mundane, busy lives of typical work to now we're all on holiday, let's all get together. So that was a really nice experience. Yeah, so that's pretty much the review of what I got up to in 2022. Last thing I'll mention, on one of the trips to Gibraltar in February, we also went to Sevilla in Spain, and that was also nice to visit. So like I already mentioned, the plan for next year, I'm going to try to keep my goals very simple. I want to finish the Questlore series before February. I want to work on the Twitter files throughout the rest of the year and get the documentary done by December or in December. In terms of my health, I want to be exercising consistently, regularly, and get down to less than 70 kilos. I want to reach 69 kilos. So that's mostly just burning body fat, basically. Got a little bit chubby. I'll show you. You see that? Yeah. Hopefully I can make an update video next year showing that I've lost that. I want to spend more time in my garden, actually, and spend more time in nature. Something that I was saying earlier is I do feel like I want more answers than questions in life. And I know that, for example, if I'm going to go down the investigating, for example, government corruption and all of that, it's not going to be a simple life, and I'm going to be left with so many questions, and there are so many variables to keep in mind. I don't think I'll ever be able to put a full stop on it or that thought process, and I think I could just think about that. Honestly, for the rest of my life, I don't think there would be an end to it, and I don't like that idea. I want my life to be a bit more simple than that. So I think, without a doubt, there is going to be an end point. Twitter Files is just one step on towards that. I want to write a book. I think I already made a video talking about that on this channel. And I want to have this book written before I'm 30, and I want to allow myself to have a balanced life which doesn't have to keep all of these variables in mind all the time. One of the reasons, like I said, why I'm reading the Bible is because I feel like I might be able to find more answers than questions. And I think by spending a lot more time in nature, away from screens, away from technology, away from continuously being bombarded with different information and more questions than I can ever answer, I think by spending time in nature, it gives me some time actually to let the subconscious sort out those thoughts and see what ideas come to mind. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, the day that I had out with my friends from the UK when they came to Portugal was in the city of Braga up north, and there's this very beautiful place to visit. And I want to revisit it in the springtime next year with my family. I think that would make a fantastic day out. That's all I've got on my mind at the moment. I've got this idea to implement a more strict schedule that allows me to make a bit of progress on all of these fronts, such as a few hours of video editing before I go to work in the morning, a few hours to regularly stretch, do breath work, exercise, take care of my diet, and read every day. I think if I can do a bit of video editing every day, a bit of reading every day, if I can get towards my fitness goals, my health goals every day, I think that will bring me a lot of fulfillment. I guess I'm taking a big idea, which is a goal, which is an endpoint, which is kind of abstract, and then breaking it down to a schedule where I can focus each and every day on what I have to do in that moment of that day, knowing that I can get to the end of the day and look back and say, yes, I worked a little bit towards all those goals, and I'm just hoping it compounds. I made a tweet talking about trying to get back into a state of flow, which is something I've talked about on this channel before, and it's something that I haven't experienced consistently or regularly since I was 12 to 14 years old. Now, I think there are many reasons for that, and I think this is the year that I really want to push myself into having, I guess, the routine and the regularity to be autonomous enough and to quiet my mind enough from being bombarded with all this new information on technology to hopefully relax, get my life a bit more in order, and feel like I'm on a positive path. I think I can achieve that. I already feel like I'm on quite a positive path from this last year, and I think next year will put me even further in it. So yeah, very excited for 2024, not 2023. It's a long video. Yeah. Hello future self, how are you doing? Did you enjoy watching this video? Do you enjoy watching me ramble? I hope you do. How are you doing? How are the kids, eh? Do I have kids? I don't know. Much love. Peace.